On August 8th, 2014, Five Nights at Freddy's was first released. The game would quickly explode into popularity, getting massive YouTubers like Markiplier and CoreyXKenshin to play the game. This year marks the game's 10-year anniversary, so today I wanted to look back at Five Nights at Freddy's, the game, its development, and the cultural impact that it had. Scott Cawthon was a small indie animator who began his career creating Christian animation for kids with minimal success. In 2012, Scott would begin making video games, the most notable ones being Desolate Hope, a post-apocalyptic side-scroller about a robot coffee pot attempting to save the world from a virus, and most infamously, Chippers and Son Lumber Co., a game about a beaver picking up the family business from his father. The game was a pretty simple adventure and tycoon game, however the game would receive a lot of criticism saying that the characters moved too much like animatronics. Up to this point, the games that Scott had been releasing were at most moderate successes. So Scott decided to give himself one last chance. If this last game didn't work, then he was going to quit game development. Scott would take the criticism and would use it, making a horror game about an old animatronic themed pizzeria like Chuck E. Cheese, where you would play as the night guard watching the security cameras. He would begin developing the game on Click Team Fusion, a programming tool that allowed developers to make games without scripts. On June 14th, the original trailer for Five Nights at Freddy's was released. This early trailer showed some things that didn't end up in the final release, such as Bonnie running down the hall instead of Foxy, and Bonnie taking off his mask, which never appears in the actual release. On the same day as the trailer's release, Scott would open up a Kickstarter for the game. Scott would request $10,000, however he would get a total of 0 backers. Five Nights at Freddy's is pretty different from other horror games. While other horror games will often have the player playing offense, shooting monsters, and exploring the creepy places, FNAF puts the player in one room. Your only access to seeing the rest of the restaurant is through your security cameras. In your room, you have 2 open doorways, one to your left and one to your right. The only way to keep animatronics out of your office is your security doors, allowing your office to cut off the hallway, keeping the animatronics out. However, behind your door are blind spots. If the animatronics get into these blind spots, you will be unable to see them on the camera and have a short amount of time to shut the doors. Luckily, right next to these door buttons is a button that allows you to illuminate these blind spots. However, all these tools won't come without a catch. You have a limited power supply, and if you reach 0, then there's nothing stopping the animatronics from entering your office. But not only do we have to deal with resource management, but we also have to deal with the animatronics. Firstly, there's Bonnie the Bunny, the guitarist of the band, and oddly enough the one Scott found the scariest due to having a nightmare about the animatronic. Bonnie will go down your left door and is most often the most aggressive of all the animatronics. Then there's Chica the Chicken, who will come down your right hallway. However, unlike Bonnie, who is more quiet, Chica will go into the kitchen and will bang pots and pans together. Then there's Foxy the Pirate, who is away from the main band in Pirate's Cove. Foxy needs to be checked on consistently because if neglected, he will bolt down the player's right hall and instantly jump scare them. Then the leader, Freddy Fazbear, who prefers to stay in the shadows. The only way of knowing that he has moved is if you hear his laugh. Finally, there is Golden Freddy, who is more of an Easter egg, but if you stare at him for too long, then he will cause the game to crash. These designs are perfect for the game. They're just unsettling enough to make you feel uncomfortable, but they're also so simple and easily recognizable. However, one of my personal favorite things about the game is the audio design. You know when the animatronics are moving by their loud stomping feet. And when Bonnie and Chica get to your cameras at 2B and 4B, they will let out sounds like they're gasping for air. The game knows how to scare you and likes messing with the player, even playing random noises to keep them uneasy. Probably my personal favorite is the carousel music, which plays randomly and is so chaotic that it makes it feel like the animatronics are moving rapidly when they might not even be moving at all. FNAF 1 has a story kept purposely vague. The only way that it tells you it is through Easter eggs and phone guys' calls. Every night you will receive a call from an unknown employee who worked in your position previously. Phone guy's main purpose is to tell the player how the different animatronics work and to explain all the mechanics. However, sometimes Phone Guy accidentally reveals more information than he should, sometimes explaining that there were some disturbing incidents that happened at the pizzeria. On night 1, Phone Guy would infamously mention the bite of 87, where an animatronic bit a child in the head, damaging their frontal lobe. On night 4, Phone Guy will explain that it's been a bad night, and they probably won't be around to send another message for the next night before we hear Freddy's music box begin to play. On night 5, the call that you receive is gibberish, that when reversed is a paragraph from the book Autobiography of a Yogi. The book is about the importance of going on a spiritual journey where you can find yourself and your inner meaning. The game also has some small Easter eggs. Sometimes while playing the game, the posters on the halls can change into newspapers, mentioning that children would go missing at the pizzeria and when the police checked, they'd find no bodies. Other newspapers in the hall would mention the closure of the pizzeria due to struggling to move past these tragedies. Also, on the custom night, if you put in 1987, then you would get a Golden Freddy jump scare. So here's what we're able to decipher from the story. At some point in the 1980s, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza would open. The place would become extremely popular, however, it would become the site of a tragedy when 5 kids were murdered and the perpetrator would stuff their bodies in the only place the police wouldn't check, that being the animatronics. And with the paragraph from Autobiography of a Yogi having to do with spirits implies that the animatronics are possessed by the victims. On July 26th, the first documented upload of a Five Nights at Freddy's Let's Play was by the YouTuber Ben the Scoopist. After the game's release, a YouTuber of the name YamiMash, who's a comedy and gameplay YouTuber, would upload a Let's Play on the game. At the time, YamiMash happened to be friends with Markiplier. Mark would see the video and take a liking to the game, uploading his own Let's Play on the game 4 days after its release. Mark's Let's Play would become extremely popular, shooting the game into the mainstream. Other YouTubers would quickly see the success of Markiplier's Let's Play, so they would begin putting out content for the game. The Living Tombstone, who at the time was mainly known for their My Little Pony fan songs, would upload a video called Five Nights at Freddy's 1 Song, which would become extremely popular, and was even used for the end credits of the movie. And around the time in October, MattPat would upload his first Five Nights at Freddy's theory. Matt's first FNAF theory is very strange to say the least. Matt compares the game to a real-life shooting at a Chuck E. Cheese. Also around this time, hoaxes about the game would begin to form, such as, in the parts and repair room that you could see a forgotten dog animatronic named Sparky. This would become the most infamous hoax from the game, having many people believe it, and even most recently, the animatronic showing up in the movie. But also at the time, many people believed that Freddy Fazbear's Pizza was a real restaurant, resulting in many restaurants being bombarded with calls from fans. The game was a phenomenon, becoming a hit overnight, quickly growing a fanbase that still lasts today. And last year, the long-awaited Five Nights at Freddy's movie would release, and although the movie had a lot of criticism from critics, the movie was a hit with the fanbase. This caused the game, which had been out of the public zeitgeist for a while, to become extremely popular again. FNAF is an extremely important series to me. When I was a kid, I was terrified of the series. I kinda hated it. But now I understand why it's so popular. The unique gameplay, the simple character design, the mysterious lore, all of these things make it one of the best horror games ever. Thank you all for watching. If you like content like this, hit the like and subscribe. I've been Invader Bryce, and I'll see you next time.